JRM on one car. That was done by Noah Gragson with a 9-race winning season a handful of years ago. Certainly the favorite when we come to a road course. So how is Connor feeling? Crew Chief Marty Lindley told me they actually went for a hike yesterday. The car chief, Marty, and Connor went on a hike. He said he's feeling no pain. In fact, he was noticing last weekend.
These curves. Here's Sawalich doing the same. And when it gets dirty like that, you lose grip at the most inopportune time as you go into that complex of corners. You see the dust there. He's already overcooked it a little bit, and then it just gets awkward. The track doesn't have as much grip. You have that little runoff there on the left. You'll use that all day long, but it's all about angle. There's Quapple doing the same thing. Oh, he's going to chase it all the way into the runoff. I've been out there before. Yep, and I had this same question. So here's what happens. You go back here, then you go to this drag strip, and then you want to head back on the front straightaway, but you got to sort of hear, hey, am I clear, guys? Like, can I go out there? Is there another car coming? So
they need a yield sign there.
Yeah, something like that.
I will say, though, so many times, and it'd be interesting to get your perspective on this, because you were always such a really good road racer, including right here at Portland. But just how hard do you push in practice, especially at a place like this where you can run off and not damage the race car too bad?
You want to push the limits, and you have to. And the best time to do that is now. It's in practice. Find out how late can you really brake in some of these corners, especially turn 1, back into turn 10 there where we saw that one going off. You really want to, just find out what is too far so that you have that reference point for later on today as we go into qualifying, and then especially in the race when you're racing others, you might have figured something out where you feel like, hey, I could go a little bit deeper if I need to make a pass. And that's something you'll find out that that you found in practice because you pushed the limits.
Harrison Burton in the 25. Good couple of weeks for him. And with that, he has a nice advantage over the cut line. We look at our playoff standings, 2 races to go until we begin that run to the championship. 36 points in front of his cousin Jeb Burton. Ryan Sieg now 56 out.
It's really gone the right way for Harrison Burton, this 25 team. I've said it since Talladega in the spring, but Jeb Burton is going to continually look at that moment where he came so close and didn't get the win. As we look back at Daytona, what happened to Harrison Burton, spun by Matt DiBenedetto here.
Well, and you talk about Jeb, and what might have been at Talladega, and I think about Harrison, this might be his defining moment if he makes it in, because this happens early and he goes a lap down, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's behind the 8 ball, but they stayed in the game and lead there with a bigger advantage than what they came in with.
He even got attacked physically by his own race car, which was so scary. You know, glad he was okay there, but no doubt, you having a recovery like he had there, a place that he knows Jeb is really good at super speedway racing, you know, that probably at one point looked really bleak for them, and then they came out of there with, you know, enough points to have this big gain. And if, you know, if he can have a solid, as we look at Nick Sanchez going backwards on pit road here. P1 also right now. Went to P1 and then decided, guys, we're just going to back it up here on pit road.
Sawallich, you can see the grill's all decorated with grass, so he continues to find his way off track. And there's the drag strip we talked about. You come around, you miss turn 12, and you just take the long route.
It's like in Rallycross, they have a Joker lap. You just hit the Joker lap there. Yeah, so you can see how dirty it is there, and it's just right there where you see all this dust, and it's so hazy down there right now. All these cars are kicking up all that dust. It just means you get to the point where you need the grip in the race car, and then suddenly it does that big slide because it's not there. This is such an adventurous part of the racetrack, and for a number of years, this is where the alternate start finish line was, right down in this area. Yep. I mean, you know well, you're hammered down trying to finish your lap in qualifying, and then this. Now we've changed the location of the alternate start finish line this year, so we probably won't see too much of that. But to that point, you know what he just did there, we were doing that when this alternate start finish line was in that area. You would just fire it through 10 and 11 and use the runoff because you could gain a couple tenths if you did that. They've obviously moved it back to before turn 10, sort of far down this back straightaway, which was a smart move to stop guys from doing that, and we're still finding people going off.
Sawallich does have a fast car, though. 5th on the board. Sanchez, you referenced, leading. 3 rookies in the top 5, and they're there with the teammates from Richard Childress Racing. Austin Hill is 3rd. Jesse Love 4th on the board right now.
We've cleaned it up back down here in this complex. You heard there, as he's going to pit road right now, because he won the ARCA race yesterday. This was a pretty adventurous battle. Annunziata behind him, he goes off, and these two are battling for the lead. A little bit more contact, and then this move, I think, was a bit of a repayment from that turn 4, turn 5 incident.
But you go back, this is an ARCA West race, and Sawallich also ran the ARCA West race at Sonoma. He won in dramatic fashion there, wins in dramatic fashion yesterday, as you just saw with that pass and the push and pass of Thomas Annunziata. And then I think about the result for him on the Xfinity side. Best career run for Sawallich came at Sonoma after that ARCA West victory when he finished 3rd. And the team was telling me just the advantage that he brings to Xfinity practice and qualifying in the race after he's enjoyed success in one of those ARCA cars, even trucks when he's done double duty on a weekend.
Hey, guess what's about to happen here? And we're off. This has been a very adventurous practice down there.
So what is the balance of it being that part of the track that's giving them some sort of trouble versus what we talked about earlier, and everybody's just pushing it over the edge to find out how far they can take it for the race and maybe even qualifying later on?
Well, I think what's gone on here, I'm assuming there just hasn't been a lot of rain up here in the Portland area, because obviously the dirt is very dry, and so the line that we would do there the last couple of years, like I mentioned, in the races, a rut would develop behind the curb that was so large you would almost like fall into it at times late in a race. And I think everyone came here with the idea of, hey, let's just do what we've done the last few years, but with how dry this dirt is, it's kicking it up all over the racetrack, and there's just not the grip level there when you get to the opposite side of turn 11. So you see Zilich going by Austin Hill here. They're side by side. This is not an area you want to go side by side into. Austin Hill.
A lot of speed, though, down that back straightaway to turn 10.
It is. You're at 4th gear, 150, 160 miles an hour, and then it's very enticing, and there's a bump on the braking zone in 10. But you also, like what I mentioned earlier when we were on board with Sawallich, you slow down from the braking zone of 10 all the way to 12, and you want to do the best job you can to sort of have it be a continual slowdown. You don't want to have to start and stop through that section, Kim. So it's just a very technical section that entices you to want to roll a ton of momentum.
And Parker, as we look at the board, Nick Sanchez top in terms of single lap speed, but cars behind the wall. What happened? What kind of feedback was it giving you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just went P1. I was coming off the final corner, and it kind of felt like a broken axle, like just revving in 2nd gear, going nowhere. You could feel the left rear and the right rear just operating on different wavelengths. So shut it off and tried to bring it in. Obviously, the car is definitely as fast as Xfinity Mobile, and I'm honestly still learning the place. So, yeah, just proud of the whole team. Cool to have Carolina Jones on the car, and yeah, hopefully get it fixed up for the race. And like I said, we have a really fast car, so I think it'll be just fine.
This team going to work to help diagnose and fix whatever the issue was out there.
Sanchez on the top of the board in front long ago. Last time we had significant rain up here 14 days ago, and that's why you're seeing so much dust. And there you see
for so many of them to show how feasible this was, and for the NASCAR teams to want, be interested in them coming over here. So it's really cool. This is a big adjustment for him. The Cup car obviously far closer to what they race over there in supercars. These Xfinity cars, you hear the tires chirping there through turn 12, are very different. The other side is he's sitting on the left side of the car. He's an H pattern shift as opposed to a sequential, so there's a lot he has to learn, and the way the rear end of these cars are is just so different than what he's driven the last couple of years. So this is a big transition, and I'm sure Shane probably had some good advice for him, but even Shane will tell you, the Xfinity car was a bigger transition than the Cup car.
driving for the right team, though, when you come to Portland. Colleague has won 2 of the 3 here. A.J. Allmendinger got the first Xfinity win 3 years ago. Last year, Shane Van Gisbergen and Cole Custer, the other driver, to take the checkers here in Portland. 7 is Justin Allgaier. As Allgaier makes his way down the back straightaway, we go to Dylan.
Well, guys, just another quick update here as some more cars go through this part of the racetrack. Seen a few guys go off and miss turn number 1 here, which gives us a good opportunity to talk a little bit about this matrix back here, which is what you have to do if you miss it, like we're going to see Sammy Smith do here. You got to wind your way through these barriers. So he did a pretty good job there. It's obviously intended to slow you down, so you can't just drive through there and stop and then go again. You got to go through and around those barriers. So Sammy did it right there. It's been so so interesting down here to watch this because there's so many different ways to approach this corner, and the thing that's been, I think, most fascinating to me is these rumble strips that you can't really see just on the other side of this wall here. If you hit these rumble strips wrong, it picks the right front of the car up and kind of deloads the back of the car, and then it really messes up your entry to turn 2, and it has you kind of messed up all the way through the rest of this corner. So there's been some different angles of attack, some different entry speed to allow you to roll through this section a little bit better. As somebody, as a racer myself, I love being down here and just being able to see and hear the different approaches to how you get through here. So I might stay down here the rest of the day and just scan from my radios down here because this is pretty awesome.
You've gotten so comfortable, you've had a wardrobe change, I believe.
That's right.
Hey, that is another thing. It's actually gotten hot here. It was cold this morning. Some of the clouds have sort of burned off, and it's turned into a really nice day here. So yes, I shed the sweatshirt earlier.
This is what Dylan was talking about, though. You know, a few years ago when we came here, we didn't have the A-frames. You miss turn 1, stop and go. And drivers actually were picking up positions while paying their penalty. Now they've adjusted that with these A-frames. You miss it in turn 1, you got to go all the way through. You miss turn 2, and you just got to weave through those last 2 A-frames.
And when we saw Sammy Smith do there, he actually gets some extra credit because the way he did it was he went back to the way you would have to have done, you know, the CW sign there. He went around that when he really only had to go around that first one and then around the Toyota one. So unless you don't, if you miss that first one, then you have to go through the CW and the Toyota sign. So NASCAR kind of thought of different ways that you might miss this corner, whether it's through the braking zone to 1 or if there's an altercation there in turn 2, you know, being able to bail out to the left, not getting a wreck, and then you just have to go around that Toyota sign. So hopefully Sammy's team explains that to him, that he went overboard with his penalty of how much time it took him to go through the center there.
As we watch Sam Mayer, and Sam is someone that I think about that has had to do the A-frame dance the last couple of years because he's had some problems down in that part of the racetrack. Is that something you'd want to practice as a driver?
Yeah, definitely. So that is something that if I was, you know, in this practice session, at least late on this first set of tires or at the end of this practice, I would try late on a set of tires to go through there and just sort of get a feel for it. Hey, what does it look like visually? How fast can I go through these A-frames? And to have an idea just as a backup in the case that, you know, everything we've seen here, you want to have that in your pocket of knowing how to get through there.
Mayer, great road racer, and was very much in the game here last year. Getting a piece of the wall, tire goes down, and this is what took him out of the game on that late restart because he was in position to go out and have a great finish.
Yeah, and he's such a good road racer. You know, multiple wins on the road courses. And when I think of him, I've said this often this year, it's not like he's going to go and be P1 in practice and P1 in qualifying, but it's late in these road course races. He just seems to come on and figure things out, and suddenly if he can get a sniff of the front late, you know, watch out, he's going for the checkered. And it's just, you know, that's historically what I've seen out of him for every reason. If we look right now, he's 11th in this practice. You know, probably would qualify a little bit better than that, and then, you know, just watch out late in the race because that's when he really comes to the forefront.
Talk about championship favorites, 2 races away from the playoffs, and here are 2 drivers we'll be talking a lot about throughout the month of September, October, and into that first part of November. Justin Allgaier, Sam Mayer, and both still very much in the game when it comes to winning that regular season championship. Allgaier comes in 3 points in front of his teammate Connor Zilic, and Mayer's only 26 out. So if the 88 and 7 have a bobble, he's right there and in position to take advantage and get those Go back to the 88 of Zilich, who's just slinging that thing around, second on the board.
It is so dirty down there. It's unbelievable how little grip there is. We're going to get a look at here into turn one. Oh, little rear wheel hop. So he's going to take the opportunity to do this here airframe. So he goes around the CW side, the Toyota side, and now accelerates here out of 3 towards turn 4. And that's how you do it, exactly. So you don't have to do this first sign. You just have to go around the CW and the Toyota sign, unless if you turned into turn 1, you then have to go around that sign and the Toyota sign.
What about that 88, Kim?
Yeah, I think to no one's surprise, the feedback he's given, a little too loose, struggling with lateral grip. He also said no drive off. He wasn't the only driver complaining about no drive off. Jesse Love also one of those, but Zilich second on the board. We know how good he is on road courses. So Parker, if you're Marty Lindley, the crew chief, and you're hearing your driver complain, how far do you go on adjustments that you don't take pace out of the car when you're close to the top of the board?
Right, well, you just have to trust him, and that's the relationship those two have, and just understand that what is the gravity of the situation in his voice and how he describes the race car. What you're seeing here is, oh, he's going to get real sideways here. 11-10, and we're going to go off, which everyone has done in this entire field. Oh, no, we got the 31 off.
Yeah, blame Perkins.
It's a mess down there right now. It's the only way to describe what's going on down in 10, 11, 12. I think this could be a very interesting race today with what we're seeing down in that section right now.
You talk about the favorite, and that being Connor Zilich. Who can beat him, and how do you get it done? Maybe issues in turn 11 will open the door, and everybody is fighting it. Where's the edge? I'm not sure that we figured.
The chaos down there that we've seen throughout this practice down in 10, 11, 12, you know, that sort of hampered him. But one thing that stuck out to me is his fastest lap was lap 11, and that was about a half second faster than anyone else is currently going on these sets of tires. So there's a bit of fall off, but we're seeing the, you know, him learning the racetrack is sort of negating some of the fall off here. We're a bit about 1.6 seconds off the pole from last year, and I think a lot of that is what we're seeing down in 10, 11, 12, the lack of grip down there, and also, you know, just him learning this racetrack right now. but he sits P2. I don't think anyone will get Sanchez till if they elect to put on another set of tires here, because these tires are getting pretty worn.
Yep, everybody gets 2 sets of tires for this practice session. And Zilic just came across that alternate start-finish line. He's completed 15 laps in this practice. That's more than anybody else. So not just incredibly talented, but such a student of the game is Connor Zilic. And we should point out, you know, Kim's referenced Marty Lindley and all he brings on the box and what he's done for this team this year. But Marty led Sam Mayer to great success here at Portland. Last year, he was right in it. We showed the issue he had late. And he was 3rd here 2 seasons ago. So Marty Lindley, someone who has been very good at Portland with Sam Mayer in the last couple of years. 10 car is on the pit lane. Daniel Dye.
Yeah, guess what he did? And we're off. There's not a car in the field, I believe, that has not experienced this area of the racetrack so far. His was pretty spectacular here, but this is, we just consistently keep seeing this.
There are 13 drivers that will start this race later this evening that have never raced here in any series. 16 overall that have never been here in an Xfinity car. That's the category that Daniel Dye would be in, one of those 3 drivers that's raced here in ARCA but never in Xfinity. Alonde making his Portland debut. First start of 2025 for him in an Xfinity car, driving a second machine for Sam Hunt.
Up in
4-time NASCAR Euro champion.
Yeah, right. So really good on road courses. They run a lot of road courses in the NASCAR Euro Series. I know he was really excited about this opportunity with Sam Hunt Racing and on a road course here and standalone, and a lot of drivers we've mentioned that haven't been here before. So a lot of opportunity there if he can figure it out quicker than some of the others right now. And we know Sam Hunt, that race team, some of their best results and runs as a race team through a variety of drivers have been on the road courses, for sure. So those Toyota Motors from Joe Gibbs are great on these road courses. And they put good race cars out here on the road courses, good baseline.
Let's get more on the 19 with Dylan. Jack Perkins, what's going on there, Dylan?
Yeah, he just rolled back out on the racetrack and just thought it was interesting listening to his radio. If you remember, he did race at Chicago earlier this year, but was collected in a crash early on, so didn't get to run the entire race in his Xfinity Series debut. But he was talking with crew chief Seth Chofka on the radio here today, and he made a good comment. He said, the balance we've got right now is going to be really good for a single lap effort for qualifying, but the rear grip will not last in the car over the course of this race. So I just thought for somebody that has not run a full Xfinity Series race, that was really good feedback, just good intuitiveness and understanding of what he needs from his race car. And it is worth noting too, he has raced here. He ran a Trans Am race here a few weeks ago, and he said he did about 270 or so laps on the simulator. But having some real world driving experience always pays dividends, and Jack looks comfortable here early on.
I would say this about the 19 too. For part-time drivers, this place has been good, because if you go back a couple years ago, Myatt Snyder drove the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing, did an outstanding job. And last year, Josh Bilicki got an opportunity to drive that car and spend a lot of time inside the top 5, top 10. So we know it's got speed, and we know Jack is very, very talented and has a chance to go out and deliver. Here's Christian Eckes, ran the ARCA West race yesterday, was 14th. This will be his first start in an Xfinity car.
He's able to navigate that tricky section back there that's covered in grass and dirt. It looks like a smoke screen or a dust storm down there every time the cars are going through. Eckes has been good on the road courses this year. I think it's been sort of the highlight for him in a lot of respects. In a tricky position points-wise, most likely, in my opinion, a must-win. So, this could be an opportunity if he's able to figure this place out quicker than some of the others. But definitely not been the season that he or colleague expected, that I expected from Christian Eckes, seeing what he's done in the trucks the last couple of years. I thought of him as a championship favorite coming into the season, and it's just not gone their way. If it could go wrong this year, it felt like it has for the 16.
Just think about what he accomplished last couple of years in the truck series. The carryover hasn't quite been there. A lot of that has been wrong place, wrong time, but they've performed well lately, and as Parker said, some of his best success this year has been on the road. important, Vicente Salas, second time we've seen him in 2025.
Such a cool story. NASCAR driver getting to go to the second highest series in NASCAR in the real world. This 45 car, I've watched him for years in NASCAR. Some of what we've seen from him. This is them racing at the Chicago Street Course, which was developed on iRacing, that course. It was probably one of the best street courses I've ever raced on in my entire life, and coolest or seen. He won Dover as well, so I've got an NASCAR team in there. We've continually finished close to last in the season standings each year, so it's not gone well for us. We didn't hire
about the owner.
We needed to hire Vicente Salas, is what we needed to do. Didn't pony up the money for him, but no, super cool to see kind of that transition from the virtual world to the real life, and especially what we've seen over years. And I think that's going to continually happen more and more as Dean Thompson has found the dirt here in turn 11, 12. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm pretty sure, I haven't kept an official counter, every single car in this field, except for the 48 who's off the track right now fixing an axle, has gone off in that section right now.
I love this car for Dean Thompson, carrying the Oregon State colors this weekend. And he spent some time on campus this week. And it's a nice time to be talking about Oregon State, because today the official opening day for college football. And you're going to see Oregon State on CW this year. Big announcement this week. CW and the Pac-12 announcing a new rights deal that will pick up next year. Tons of college football, men's and women's basketball, including the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Championship next season. In fact, when we're done with the race tonight, Washington State and Idaho right here on CW. But I know that Dean had a really good time on the Oregon State campus, and the car looks outstanding this weekend.
That is a cool looking car. Anytime we can sort of do any sort of collab with college football, I think is awesome, because the Xfinity Series in a lot of respects is the college football of NASCAR, right? And it's our Saturday series in this sport. And this is, I mean, this is just feels like we're on replay. You just insert car in this section, and they've done this. This happened a little bit earlier, before the 26. This is Ryan Sieg doing the extracurricular activity here. Well, they're not going to have to mow the grass there when we're out of here.
I'm not sure there's any. I'm not sure there was grass there when we started. There's definitely not now.
What's fascinating to me, and we mentioned that it rained about 14 days ago, so it's obviously very dry here, is that even when cars don't even use the, go over the curb and get into the dirt, they're kicking up dirt just naturally from the exhaust and the airflow around the race car. And so every time you go in there with what's happening down there, you don't know what the grip level is going to be until you get in the corner. And I think that's why we're seeing this, is it's almost like, say, a rally course in some respects, where with this dirt being put on the track, even if the cars aren't running off, it means you just have a different grip level every single time you go through there, which is incredibly tough. So you see Austin Green, he dipped the left sides in, and if you do what he did there, sometimes when you dip the left sides in 10 into the dirt, you get that dirt on the tires, and then you get to 11 and you just don't have the grip.
Thomas Annunziata really good in the ARCA West race yesterday. 4th right now in practice, Kim.
Yeah, Adam, 4th on the board after a mock run. Out of the car, how was it in terms of what you have for this afternoon?
It's exactly what we've been looking for the whole season. We run 2 different road course race cars. I've liked this one for the most part better. We ran it at Chicago. We're running in the top 8. So I'm confident about it, but it gives me more confidence. So this Crow Co-Family race car is on rails, and I'm just excited for this afternoon and see what we can do.
As we talk confidence, you ran the ARCA West race yesterday, had a great battle there at the end with William Sawalich. How does that play into the things you were able to learn for today?
Yeah, I mean, it helps you learn muscle memory and the track itself. Yeah, there you go. It was aggressive. I mean, William had me covered. The Joe Gibbs guys were just faster than us, and I did everything I can to hold them behind, but elbows out. It's just clean race. It's hard racing at the end of the day, and he was the deserving winner. So it was fun. You learn how to pass and race here. I've never been here, so we'll see what we can do today. Our car's as fast as Xfinity Mobile, so we'll see what we can do.
Quite the speed for never having been here. That's Thomas Annunziata.
It's a great attitude, considering that battle and how he said it was aggressive, which it was, but to see the positives from it was great. To be gracious in defeat was cool, and he definitely shown a lot of speed. And that's the speed we kind of expected from him this year at the road courses, considering his success in the Trans Am Series. As we're starting to see new tires be put on these race cars, Austin Green to the top, Christian Eckes now to the top. This is now they're getting the chance to put new tires on after figuring this place out for 40 minutes.
And as we talk about things changing on the board and those drivers that are making a mock run, we watched Joey Hand in the 28 this week, and you talk about a road racer in sports cars, this guy has just had a remarkable career.
Yeah, one of the best in the world in sports car endurance racing. Joey Hand, he's done it all. He's been all around the world racing in the endurance races all over, and so it's really cool to see him get this opportunity in the Xfinity Series. He's done some Cup races, Dylan, but this is a whole new animal for him.
Yeah, it is, and this is an opportunity for the rest of the Ford teams in the Xfinity field to just get a baseline or an understanding of kind of where they're at, and for Joey to evaluate the program. He's a Ford factory driver, so we've seen him, of course, in the Cup Series, seen him on the IMSA sports car side of things as a Ford guy. So he was brought in here kind of just to help evaluate the Haas factory road course program, the seed cars as well, and this is kind of a full-blown Haas car, so this is a good race car and a good opportunity for Joey to come in here and just help all of the Ford programs elevate their game. I was even talking to Harrison Burton earlier, and he said Joey has been at all of his simulator sessions on the road courses. So he's been behind the scenes, having a hand in it, no pun intended, playing a hand in the success of these guys throughout the season. But great to have him behind the wheel. He's a super underrated guy and just all of racing, always fast in everything he gets in. So great to have him in the Xfinity field.
I just go back to last summer at Chicago, ran the 60 Cup car, a third entry at that time for the Roush Fenway Keselowski operation, won a stage and finished inside the top 5. So it illustrates just how talented he is and such a humble guy helping behind the scenes when he's not driving a race car.
We talked about it where they're kicking up dirt on the racetrack, and if you look here, I get to use this telestrator for the first time. That was a great.
Was that
awesome.
as exciting as winning last week in Daytona? Because you were pretty jazzed up about using the telestrator.
And so basically, you know, you see even when they go through this section normally, where they're just using the curbs, they're just kicking up so much dust and dirt. It's laying on the racetrack, and so if you get anywhere offline, you're gonna end up in that dirt where there's zero grip. And when you get that on your tires, it's like hitting marbles or ice. Like you just have nothing there. As we watch on board Swalwich, and it's developing almost a groove where you have to be between the areas of that dirt, or you're gonna end up off the racetrack like we've seen. You got more, Kim?
Yeah, Parker, I think a great description was earlier in this practice, Connor Zilic, who's trying to learn the track. You think about all the drivers who have never raced here trying to learn it, and he said it was difficult to try and learn it because of all that dirt being kicked up. The track seems different every single lap as guys get in it and dust it up and bring more of that dirt and grass onto the racing surface. That's a great way to describe it. And what that does is in a section where you try to roll a ton of speed in there, which means you're trying to free roll the car through that section and then slow it down into 12 to get down to first gear for that corner, means that you're sort of in a real rock and a hard place when you hit that dirt, because you're already sort of in a freewheel with the race car at that point. So if you suddenly have less grip than you expected, there's not much you can do other than just follow the path of where that dirt takes you, which is we've seen many go off into the actual dirt.
If you look at our bumper right now, all those guys up there at the top, those speeds and the times were reflective basically of a mock qualifying run. Now we flip it to 5-lap average, and this gives you a sneak peek maybe of what we'll see in race trim. Zilic leading on both sides of it.
Right, but not by a massive margin here on the 5-lap average. If you look at Swalwich, he's close, less than half a tenth, or just about half a tenth. Taylor Gray is right there. Jesse Love just a couple tenths back, so it tightens up for sure. Now that is historically, when we've looked at Connor Zilic this season, well, that's great to see. The 48's back out there, got that axle changed. You know, historically, where Zilic really separates himself is not just the 1-lap speed, but it's the speed over a long run. So to see the field pretty close is pretty interesting. But Dylan, you have more on the 48?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge, as you did, Parker, that the 48 car is back on the racetrack. It was an axle that was the issue for this car. So really good effort, though, by Patrick Donahue and the entire crew to get that changed, get the car fixed, and get Nick some laps here at the conclusion of this practice session. I didn't get a chance to check if they were taped up or not to see if this is a qualifying run, but regardless, some extra laps on the track here at the end of practice.
Here's what's impressive, though. He's 10th on the board, and we know he's not made a mock qualifying run. Got only 4 laps. So you're checking a couple of boxes here. One, not only do you get the added laps, but you may put yourself in a position to go out and get a mock run that could help you for qualifying, because we know how fast this car is. The other thing I would say is just how important qualifying is going to be today. Because this is a standalone race, no Cup cars here this weekend, we're going to do these controlled pit stops, and because of that, there's no opportunity to flip the stage and gain positions through strategy and all of that. You want to qualify up front. You're not going to gain or lose positions on the pit lane, and so track position is going to be paramount as you start thinking about drivers that can challenge for a victory or a solid finish today.
It's huge. You know, this is most of a straight-up speed fight that you'll see all year in all 3 of NASCAR. Without the strategy that you would have normally flipping stages, that sort of thing, it means, hey, if you have the speed and you can stay up there, not having altercations on the restarts, you should be able to sort of keep your position and control the race in that sense. So qualifying is massively important if you want those stage points and to have the track position all the way throughout the day. You're just going to have to find it by either passing cars or just being fast enough.
Taylor Gray won an ARCA race here 2021, making his Xfinity debut at Portland later, 13th in practice. Pop Sam Mayer obviously made a mock qualifying run, jumped up to 5th on his 16th lap. And there's his teammate Sheldon Creed. Got a good history here in Portland.
Yeah, he's been very quick here. Remember a couple years ago, I believe it was on the front row, or maybe won the pole.
Yep.
And you know, just had a lot of speed around this place. And he's a really good road course racer. You think about a driver over the last couple of years. I know he's still not gotten that first win, but he's been in the conversation at the end of these road course races so many times throughout the years. That happens when you get too far over there. That launches the car, and you run really soft springs here because you've heard the drivers talk about wanting more drive off. Well, how do you do that? You run soft rear springs, but that also means that when the car's got newer tires and a ton of grip, it sort of hikes up the inside tire in certain corners as it falls over on those rear springs. And you'll see these cars look very dynamic as they go around this racetrack as the teams try to get rear grip in them.
Creed just jumped to 29th, or to 9th rather, a couple laps ago. He's completed 22 laps in the session. His time is about to run out. Junior Motorsports coming off their third 1-2-3 finish at Daytona last week. They put all 4 of their cars in the top 8 in practice. Flags are out. You can come back around and finish at that alternate start-finish line if you're on track.
Sheldon Creed's going to take advantage of that just to get one more lap. And, you know, that was huge for Nick Sanchez and Big Machine to get back out there. Having only had 4 laps, was very fast off the bat, but to just get more laps as this track has changed so much over this 50 minutes. You see the rubber that's laid down. Obviously, everyone improving their pace as they figure the racetrack out and get to do some of those mock runs on newer tires. That was really big for Nick just to get a couple more laps out here. I think it'll bring him about 7 or 8 laps total. So he's at a bit of a deficit compared to the field, but a great job by that race team to make that happen.
Especially when you're making your first appearance here. You know, if it happens to one of the veterans, you got something to lean on, not so much for Nick Sanchez. So that added time is going to help him, and kudos to Patrick Donahue and everybody in the 48 group for making the changes they need to get him back out and some much needed track time.
And a shout out to the owner, Scott Borchetta. They had the celebration of the 20th anniversary of Big Machine Label Group, music group, last night in Nashville. Here it was a pretty big party for everything I saw.
Practice is done. Qualifying on the way. Zilich, the best of the bunch. Down there. You got Zilich up there and all the Junior Motorsports guys, the 2 from RCR, the 2 from Haas Factory, and a couple of drivers from Joe Gibbs Racing. So let's rewind to last week and the drama that was for this 88 team, Parker teaming up with Connor Zilich.
9-year-old me would be absolutely exploding right now that Dale Earnhardt Jr.
optimistic are you that you can be winners again here this weekend?
Pretty optimistic, honestly. You know, I feel like anytime we go to a road course, our 88 WeatherTech Chevrolet is as fast as Xfinity Mobile, and we always have a chance to win. So, yeah, same deal here today. Felt pretty good about it in practice. Maybe not as good as we've been at some of the other road courses, but definitely got things better towards the end of practice there. So optimistic, but not going to get my hopes up yet.
All right, full race. How are you feeling? How's your shoulder, your collarbone?
Yeah, I feel it in the car. You know, it's not painful, but it's definitely uncomfortable, you know, just with the belts over my collarbone. So, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be what I have to deal with, but honestly, it's not too bad.
And guys, I actually interrupted a debrief between teammates, Connor and Sammy Smith, breaking things down. So for you, what was the big takeaway after practice?
Yeah, Kim, I thought we had a good pilot Chevrolet today. I think we are working on it a little bit. I'm trying to get some tips here from Connor, just pick his brain a little bit on some shift points. But I feel like we have a good car. We've worked hard on these road courses, and I feel like slowly have been getting better. And yeah, I feel good about today. Looking forward to qualifying and the race ahead.
A number of drivers were having problems with 10, 11, 12 track getting really dirty. What's the expectation for the race and how you maybe have to tiptoe through that section?
Yeah, we were just talking about that before you came up. I think I was behind him probably half a straightaway, and it would just settle down the dust as I got through there. So I was behind a couple of guys, and I know he went off there. And yeah, it gets sketchy, I think, when you're going to be too wide and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a challenge today, but yeah, everyone's going to have to deal with it.
I'm going to remove myself from this team meeting now, throw it over to Dylan. Dylan, I think you've got Jack Perkins?
Yeah, that's right. Ended up 4th in practice in the JGR 19. So I know that you weren't one of the only ones that was talking about the track and just kind of dodging some of the dirtiness out there, but did you get a good feel for what your race car had?
Yeah, it's pretty tricky out there, you know, the way that the drivers, you need to cut the circuit and drag a heap of dirt on the racetrack to be fast, but it means it's so hard to maximize the lap and know what you've got when you get down there. But our number 19 Showing Partners Financial Services Toyota Supra was pretty quick there on the mock run. There's a lot of time in me, and you know, hopefully we can get it right up in the front 2 rows for the race.
You didn't get to run the full race at Chicago earlier this year, so as you try to diagnose your setup and what you need for the car kind of on the long run and throughout the course of the race, what's the challenge in that for you?
It's extremely challenging. You know, 1 lap pace, you make the car kind of really good on turn, but then the tyres aren't there 3 laps later and the long run is terrible. So it's a real manage, and I don't know what we're going to do exactly, but I think it's probably a lot of it's going to come back to me managing the tyre in the long run. We just got to qualify well with this format, with the pit stops and whatnot. Not a lot of strategy today, so we've got to qualify well, get to track position, we'll worry about the car after that.
Nice, Jack. 19 car is good, and he's got to go climb aboard the car for Group 1 of qualifying. Practice done here in the Pacific Northwest. Great day in
of teammates, so we'll start with Jesse. I know you guys tried some stuff during that practice. Was it what you wanted there at the end?
Yeah, I think so. We obviously weren't very good here last year, so we basically just did a 180 on what we had, and yeah, I feel like we're starting off better. So yeah, we made a little bit of adjustment there, try to, you know, just do something different, and I didn't like it as much, but I feel like I learned a lot in that couple lap run. So when we put it back to how we unloaded, I was definitely a lot happier with it. So yeah, it's nice to, you know, be close to the 88 today. I feel like, you know, me and Austin talking about our laps, we both felt like we left enough out there to where if, you know, Connor doesn't have a big pickup in qualifying, that, you know, we can challenge for the pole at least. So I don't know. I think that I got a pretty good race car, as fast as Xfinity Mobile, and if we just maximize the day and be there at the end, you know, this place obviously gets really wild with how the track's built. But I said coming into this day, it's like my least favorite road course, and now that I'm a little bit quicker than I was last year, I like it a little bit more.
You've joked in the past that you and Connor share information, but it just is track dependent. With you having more experience than him here, did he come to you?
You think Connor is going to ask me a question about a road course?
You never know.
Absolutely not. So, you know, we work with Scott Speed together on the dill stuff and the simulator, so I'm able to look at his data and stuff. And, you know, when you're a road course guy like Connor, your natural instinct is just like spot on. So he's able to adapt to these places really quickly like I would at an oval. So even though he's never been here, you know, leading up to this event, and I've been here I think twice before today, I still looked at his data and found some things that I can work on. And yeah, me and Scott Speed have been working really hard the last few months and almost about a year now on this road course stuff, trying to get myself better at it. And I'm really, you know, looking forward to seeing how today plays out.
Jesse seeming confident with what he had at the end of practice. What about teammate Austin Hill? Austin, I know that you were trying some things. You guys came with a different setup. Did it prove good?
Yeah, I mean, our Bennett Chevrolet is as fast as Xfinity Mobile right now. The driver left some out on the table there in practice and even in that mock run that we ran for qualifying. So there's definitely room for improvement there. There's areas that I know that I can work on. You know, there's also areas that we can make the car a little bit better as well. But yeah, I mean, Jesse and I both, we kind of bring a whole new package to the racetrack, a whole new, you know, outlook on this racetrack and how we're going to attack it. And I think so far it's working really well. RCR is 2 and 3 right now. Jesse was a little bit better than I was there in practice, but you know, I think that if him and I can work really well together today, you know, give and take, you know, when we need to as teammates and keep everyone else behind us, we can hash it out there at the end and go for the win.
All right, we'll see what Austin Hill and Jesse Love have later this afternoon.
He's underrated on the road is Austin Hill, but you know when we come to one of these places, he's going to have a chance. He's been good here at Portland last couple of years, and you think about what he's done this season, top 5 and 4 of the 5. So there's It's time to hit the road in NASCAR's Xfinity Series. Go get him back. I have a feeling that's going to be said on a radio here today, and it could be a significant move because with only 2 races to go to the playoffs, everything a little bit more important this time of year, and this is as late as we've ever raced at Portland. You look up there, you know, Connor Zilic, all the playoff points, those 7 victories. We know Austin Hill is going to lose his, and then you transition over to the right column, Harrison Burton, 36 in front of Jeb at the cut line.
And that's the battle we're all watching. I think everyone is, at least in the point situation. It's the cousins versus each other. It's been all summer long that those two have been vying for that 12th position. But can a Krishnakis or someone like that sneak up, get a win, and make that a moot point?
You know, I look at William Sawalich, and you think about the success that he's had here in ARCA West competition the last couple of years and how that's translated from a Friday run to a Saturday run in the Xfinity Series. We've seen it already this year. He's someone that might be able to put himself in position and pull off the upset, lock himself into the playoffs, and upset that playoff cut line. And it all begins with qualifying. And Williams' teammate, one of the first out there in Group 1, the 19, is Jack Perkins.
You know what I remember about Jack Perkins? I was a big Supercars fan growing up. I watched it religiously, and he was in the Jack Daniels car, and I was so jealous. I always wanted to drive the Jack Daniels car. So cool to see him over here in NASCAR, making a couple starts in the Xfinity Series. Comes from a storied family of racers in Australia, Larry Perkins. His dad, who's a very famous race car driver there. And yeah, I think he was quick in practice, and I think this is a big opportunity for him. You know, those Joe Gibbs cars, you mentioned that 19 car has been fast with a couple different drivers, Josh Blickley, Myatt Snyder, and now Jack Perkins.
There is the alternate start-finish line. So Perkins getting a little heat in the tires, then turns up the wick, and he is now on it.
Right, used a little bit of dirt. They cleaned the racetrack. NASCAR actually brought out some of the jet dryers to clean the racetrack over there and all the dirt that had been put down during practice and the dust. So there's probably a lot more grip there. Most grip you'll have had all day through that section, as he was the first car to get in there. You go about 160 down to turn 1, second gear here, then down to first as you hop over that curb on the right. Then you'll get hard on the power here out through 3. The rear will sort of wiggle around. You can stay in second and bang it off the rev limiter or pop the third for just a second. Ooh, right front lock up. And you want to wrap these curbs in the inside of 4, 4A, and 5. You want to be right around those. Don't use too much of the racetrack on the exit for 6. Back down to first gear for here. The car will lean over on the right rear, then stay tidy on the exit to set up for 7. Back down to first gear if you've gone to second. And this long back straightaway, you want to get the best run you possibly can. They removed this curb on the right there. You see that black strip? That used to be a curb. They removed it for IndyCar, so no longer have to worry about that. It's blind as you go around here towards the alternate start-finish line. That's a 14.3 solid lap.
Not bad at all for Jack Perkins. He sets the pace.
Oh! Oh, no. Oh, we keep it out. Yes, comes to a stop. Thought that had a chance to get to that barrier there. I couldn't remember how close it was.
I'm sure at some point when he was sliding, he was thinking he might get to the barrier too.
Kept it clean. You don't want to go backwards here on the racetrack.
Well, the other thing you want to be mindful of here is you just don't want to jump out there and interrupt someone else's progress who's making a qualifying run, as it is group qualifying.
Yeah, we've got Thomas Annunziata, who's actually stopped on the racetrack, so they've thrown the red flag here.
Alon Day has now gone to the top. He runs a 1:13.94.
That's a really good lap.
And lucky for him, he got his lap completed before the caution, how many times have you been watching a tracker and a guy's got a lap going and somewhere else on track someone runs off, caution comes out, and you have to reset and do it all again?
Yeah, we saw the 48 there of Nick Sanchez. I have to wonder if he actually got to start his lap or not. You hope if this happens, you're just on the out lap, so you don't really put too much effort through the tires, because they definitely have a bit of fall off here this weekend. This is a very smooth racetrack, one of the smoothest you'll run on in North America in a lot of respects, considering how old the asphalt is. But it does wear the tires for sure. So you will, laps on the tires will take away performance in the ultimate lap time.
Everyone's going to make the field this weekend. Only 37 cars here. We watch what's happening to Thomas Annunziata, and I bring that up because Annunziata actually missed the race at COTA earlier this season.
Yeah, and I said smoke out of the pipes, it looked like, potentially. And that's a bad sign. Oh, no. You don't want to see that.
What about it, Kim?
Don't know exactly what the problem is. I did hear the team ask him if he missed a shift. Did not hear what Thomas said, so possibly a larger issue here for the 70 car.
Dylan, what about the 54 of Taylor Gray?
Yeah, they've got an issue as well. Taylor went out on the racetrack and brought the car back and said whenever he went to full throttle, the car basically shut off. So they're working on the carburetor right now. They just took that off the roof and are putting it over, dragging it over to put it back on the race car. I also heard him maybe talking about like a fuel pump thing or trying to do a bypass on the fuel system. So either way, it sounds like maybe the car just is not getting fuel, and whenever he goes to wide open full throttle, it shuts off. So trying to get that diagnosed here on the 54.
Practice was eventful, 3 minutes into Group 1 qualifying, and it too has been eventful.
Yeah, when we see all those spins and off-track moments for a lot of these race cars in practice, it can look harmless, but race cars are very fragile, and they do not like having moments where they get shook around or launched in the air too often, and that can hurt all sorts of different things, and that might have been the case there for Taylor Gray. Definitely, I agree with Dylan's assessment. It sounds like it's being starved for fuel for some reason. That would be about the only reason that it would sort of shut off at full throttle, is the engine's actually not getting fuel to have the air and fuel mixture that creates combustion in an engine. A little science for you.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's how these work, and that's not occurring there for the 54, so they've got to sort of diagnose that.
While Sid, the science kid here in the booth, lines up his next dissertation, we'll go to Kim down in the pit lane.
And rewind to last year, it was Sam Mayer who won the pole here for Portland. So what does it take to make a fast lap here?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a really fast Audubell Ford Mustang. Huge shout out to Ford and Ford Performance for having a pretty good car. Everyone at Haas Factory team is doing a really good job of getting better every time we show up. And we had kind of our work cut out for us today so far in practice. We've definitely had to make a couple changes on it, but I think for qualifying we'll be as fast as Xfinity Mobile. But we'll have to wait and see. It's gonna be a hectic one for sure. I mean, we're already getting a treat of that, how it's gonna look, but I think it's gonna get even crazier. So I mean, if you just put a good lap down and keep all four on the pavement, you'll have a good day. So hopefully we can do that.
As we talk fast race cars and fast drivers here at Portland, cannot ignore his teammate Sheldon Creed, who's led in all 3 of the Portland races here. Do you have a car here this afternoon that could possibly make its way out front?
Yeah, I think some good adjustments to our friend at Jacqueline Ford Mustang can certainly get us there. Felt, pretty decent there in practice. Tried to monster chug it through the grass there early on, and yeah, I guess just find the limits. But yeah, overall I feel okay, lacking a little drive here and there. So we're gonna hit it with some adjustments and yeah, try to make it as fast as Xfinity Mobile.
All right, Parker and Adam, you heard it, monster truck it. So maybe $1. I'll offer you guys $1 each if you get that phrasing in during the race later today.
It won't be hard.
We'll have multiple opportunities, I have a feeling.
That'd be easy to work in from everything we've seen in practice. That's a great term for explaining what they're doing to the curbs over there in the grass down in turns 10, 11, and 12. Monster trucking it. I like it.
Yeah, it's funny, Kim's talking to Ford drivers there, and it takes me to just how good the Chevys have been. Obviously this season, but just on road courses the last few years, they've won 13 straight on the road. Last time a non-Chevy won a road course race in the Xfinity Series, you have to go back to August of 2023 when Ty Gibbs got it done at Indianapolis in a Toyota. So we'll see, you know, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed, or someone from the Toyota camp can knock the Chevys off the top of the pylon today.
It makes sense when you look at who's been driving these cars the last few years. AJ Allmendinger was in a Chevy. SVG was in a Chevy. Sam Mayer was in a Chevy.
Connor Zilic now.
He's in a Chevy. Yep. So it plays. They've had the best road course racers behind the wheel of Chevys.
Mention AJ Allmendinger, all-time wins leader in the Xfinity Series on the road. Here's his replacement in the 16. AJ running Cup for Colic and a Rookie of the Year contender, Christian Eckes.
And really the highlight of his year has been the road courses
Indeed.
this season, for sure. That's what they've shown the best pace. They've had some of the, maybe the least amount of bad luck that we've seen out of them this year in unfortunate circumstances. But as you see, he's sort of on this out lap. Take it slowly. You want to treat those tires as gently as you can. Sort of work them in as you get closer to starting the lap, but keep heat out of them right now because they're just going to lose performance as you go through a lap. With these big, heavy 3,400-pound stock cars, the heat starts to go through those tires, and as you start to run full throttle on the corners and sort of send so much load through those rear tires, they just continually lose grip as you go through a lap. As he's going to start his right now over the alternate start-finish line and down to turn 10.
You referenced his success on the road. 3 top 5s in his rookie campaign. 2 of those coming in road course competition. And while if you're him, you want to win the next couple of weeks and make your way into the playoffs. But if you don't, last part of this year is just all about gaining momentum for his sophomore season in 2026. And you saw the graphic. They've been really good in the last few races. So starting to build some of that momentum that they need.
Solid into turn 1 there. Had a decent exit out of 12. Just a couple tenths off Elon Day's lap from earlier. No lockup so far. Oh, and I spoke too soon. There's one. Down into turn 4 and then to 4A. We've seen that often out of a lot of cars because of just how soft the rear springs are, and you're loaded up as you're braking and turning at the same time there. It's easy to lock that inside tire. Out of 6 towards 7. This is probably the most important part of this racetrack, to get a good run out of 7. It's a very awkward corner. He gets through it nicely, and now he's going to head to complete the lap. It's a quick one around here. It flies by at about a minute 14 seconds, 13 seconds.
Eckes is 4th, 1:14.52.
He'll probably want another effort at it. See if he decides to do that now or to cool the he's going to continue on for a second lap, so back to back. I wonder if we'd see many drivers do this, or if you want to sort of do one and done and cool it back down and try again later.
Austin Green, prior to the caution, was 3rd on the board, and he's back out in the 32. When you talk about someone that shows up, doesn't drive these cars often, but when he comes road racing, he is always a player. 3 top 10s this year. He was 11th at Sonoma, and to be fair, you know, they had a penalty there. He would have been top 10 there as well. As you see Will Brown off track in the 11.
Right, Will Brown's definitely struggled in practice. He was 25th, I believe, in practice.
Outside the top 20, yeah.
Yeah, outside the top 20. It's been a hard transition for him. It's so tough. These race cars are so unique in the Xfinity Series. It's why it was so difficult for many years to have road ringers sort of win in the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series, because it's just such a unique race car. The Cup car is now aligned with what's sort of more common globally in racing, but this Xfinity car is still, as I like to say, classic stock car racing. It's the stock car we've known and loved for over better part of 2 decades, and it's a unique beast.
Austin Green really hustling that race car. Was picking up some time. The tracker not quite as friendly as he comes off 7 and back to that alternate start-finish line. 1:14.74 to a 1:14.43 for him. A little bit quicker.
Yeah. See if he does another one here. That's, I mean, multiple in a row. That's tough. You know, you get so much heat through the brakes as you run laps around here that the car just loses performance. Alfredo goes to 7th on the board.
Alfredo actually won the pole here for the first race. If you remember, that's when we did 2 rounds.
Yeah.
We did round 1. He was quickest, in position to advance to round 2. And then the rains came, And NASCAR said, we're just going to call it good, and he started on the pole. So that was a pretty neat day for him at the time.
And Anthony Alfredo does a cool thing often these weeks on social media where he does sort of a lap on iRacing, talking you through each track that the Xfinity Series heads to. So if you don't follow him on Instagram, go check it out. But it's very cool and very insightful often of what the drivers are experiencing around these racetracks.
91 this weekend. Josh Williams driving that car.
He's back at DGM. That was a tough time there through turns 5. Lost the front end on the exit. This is the place he was when he had the infamous moment at Atlanta. That led to the opportunity at Colleague Racing and now back at DJM. But this has been didn't quite have the pace in practice that he probably wanted. Had a good run here last year at Colleague. Actually, I know that because he beat me in the final lap for 7th. So he knows how to get around here.
Williams 11th on the board. We go back to Daniel Dye. He's currently 8th, trying to find some more speed in the 10. Josh Williams has been behind the wheel for 3 different teams this year. Started the year with Colleague. We know he was released after Indy. Had a couple of weeks away, but came back last week driving for Alpha Prime at Daytona, and now, as you mentioned, driving for Mario Gosselin here this weekend.
Daniel Dye starts the lap. Oh no, way out there. Oh, off the curb. It doesn't get much uglier than that through that section, but he survived, and I think that was the key of this lap right now. And some of the things that we've seen down there, he went spinning through there in practice. And now the worst part is you put the dirt on the tires, so you don't get to run out of 12, and you feel like you just have to make up through this lap. Or, personally, I would probably abort the lap, take it easy, and try to fire off for the next lap.
And here's the other thing that you have to start thinking about a little bit, and that is the fact you come all the way to the West Coast. No Cup teams here, maybe not as many resources as you're used to having on a normal race weekend. And the turnaround from practice qualifying to the race is very, very short period of time. You do not want to go out, throw it away, tear up your race car, or even have to go to a backup and then have to get it turned around for the race. Got to be real careful here when you're making these runs. As we check in on the 28 of Joey Hand, he is on it.
That's a great point. Yeah, you just don't want to put your team in that position with such a tight turnaround. Being on the West Coast, as you mentioned, all those factors means that, you know, if you put yourself in a position, if you're in a decision between 100 and above 100% or backing off just a tick, it's probably smart to back it off. As we look at Joey Hand wrestle everything he can out of this 28 car right now. Slowly been losing time. Talon Day, is that car looks very uncomfortable there. Through 5, into 6. Starting to pop that left front in the air. The front end is really low as always. He locked the rears there into 7. That put him real awkward in terms of his angle on the exit. He's going to lose a ton of time here to finish this lap. He'll want another run at it.
He lost a half a second in that segment of the track. If you look at our tracker, it's pausing at the scoring loops here. It's not running continuously. As we said, this is a standalone weekend, so not all the same resources from a timing and scoring perspective, and that's why you see our tracker pausing from time to time. Joey Hand is currently 6th as we go to Dillon.
Yeah, and let's catch up with Alon Day, who is clear of the field by about a half a second right now. So pretty good lap. Do you feel like you maximized it and got everything out of it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, up to now, I mean, the JSSI car is as fast as Xfinity Mobile. I didn't know exactly what to expect when I came in. It's the first time on Xfinity car this year, but yeah, it's fast. Hopefully it's going to stay like that until the end of the session. And yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, it's a long race. Think about the whole program, the whole day. Hopefully we'll put the JSSI car on a good result.
Thank you very much. We've seen some of the ringers that have get in this second Sam Hunt car be fast this year, and the 24 is fast again today.
Well, we talk about his success, 4-time NASCAR Euro Series champion, but he was second in an ARCA race earlier this year at Lime Rock, so we know that he's very adaptable.
He is, and he's really good on the road courses, so I'm not surprised to see that pace. We talked about Sam Hunt Racing has had really good pace at road courses. In their history, they've had some of their best runs in this series at road courses, so cool to see all that come together and put in a great lap. Nick Sanchez here, great start to the lap. sort of missed the turn 1 there a little bit, was further out than he probably wanted to be, so he had an awkward angle for turn 2. But this is continuing to be a good lap. Just loses a little bit through that section.
It was green, 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 and then that last section not as good. And in a couple sections in a row, he's lost time here.
But that was a tidy turn 5. I like that a lot. Turn 6 here. It's one of the slowest corners. The car's going to hike up that left front right there. Now into 7. This is the important one. We saw it all go wrong for Joey Hand right here.
He's gaining on it.
He is. This is a really tidy lap. Wringing everything out of this race car. Maybe lost a little bit on the exit right there. We'll see if he gets it back on the straightaway. Possibly doesn't look like it.
One time he was as close as 3 thousandths to the fast lap. Ends up losing some time there in the back portion of that lap and ends up second behind Alon Dade as Nick Sanchez.
I think he's going to do another. He decides to quit it there in 12 because he really lost the back end into 12. 6 minutes to go, could have the chance to cool it down a little bit and maybe take another run at it.
Yeah, so you mentioned the 6 minutes. We got 2 groups, and there is no second round of qualifying. It's all one round, so you do the 2 groups, you merge them together, and that's how we arrive at our starting lineup for today's race. Kyle Sieg out in the 53 with Joey Hand coming over and driving the 28 car. Sieg moves over running full time to drive the 53 this weekend.
That's a big adjustment, right? You drive for the race team, and he's been driving for his family's race team for all these different races and years, and then suddenly go drive someone else's race car. It's going to feel very different to him. The interior will be different. It's just all sorts of things that he's going to have to adjust to. And add in it's a road course. So it just makes it all the more difficult. And that's not his strength, right? No, it's not his strength. It's not his experience, you know, that he's had in the past. So it's just a lot that he's having to adjust to here in this 53.
5 minutes to go, Group 1. Here's Dylan.
Yeah, and William Sawalich is one of the cars in Group 2 that is waiting to qualify, but you've been on track already this weekend, had a pretty good night last night in the ARCA car, won that race. What does not only the laps help, or how does it help you, but winning as well? Like, what kind of confidence boost is that just in general?
Yeah, I mean, just confidence in general helps kind of everything. But our Sound Gear GR Super today is this fast Xfinity Mobile, and I think our long run speed is probably our strong point, and see if we can get some short run speed out of it. And qualifying, I think we're perfectly capable to be in the top 5. But the boys have been working hard on the road course program for me to be up there on Saturdays.
Thanks, William. Gibbs cars have been fast. The one car that has been having issues here in this session is his teammate Taylor Gray, and they're still trying to figure out exactly what the issue is with this race car. They thought maybe it was some sort of actual fuel issue. They said they'd run laps in practice, and then once they put fuel in the car, this is when they started to have all these problems. Now, it does look like it's up to speed, which would be some progress, but going to try and check in with Jason Ratcliffe here and get a definitive answer if they found anything that was amiss on this 54 car.
This is a pretty decent lap, you know, fairly competitive here. Half a second off of what the fast time is right now, and we'll see where Gray slots in. 5th is where he ends up as he crosses the alternate start-finish line. You know, they come in 67 points above the playoff cut line. Very comfortable, but you just don't want to have any hiccups and add pressure in the regular season finale next weekend in St. Louis.
And he's been so close to winning. You go back to Martinsville in the spring with obviously what went down there at the end with Sammy Smith, to Mexico City where he had the chance on Suarez to make a late move. Glad he didn't actually knock him out of the way there in Mexico City, but hey,
a flash of green on the tracker.
Really fired it off into turn 1. Now into 4, we've seen a lot of right front lockups. Doesn't do that, stays tidy and wraps that inside curb. I like that. Same here through 5. We haven't really seen a lot of cars go faster in succession, but if you felt like you made mistakes, he really hikes up the left front out of 6, down into 7. Late turn in here. Gave up a little bit of time, but it's about this run out of 7 down the back straightaway.
2 Gibbs cars in Group 1. Jack Perkins is currently 3rd. Taylor Gray currently 5th. And we'll see if the rookie driver 54 can gain on it. Moves up to 4th.
That's a good pickup. You know, considering, as we've talked about, just the heat that these race cars sort of experience and gain as you go through a lap means that naturally on the second lap, it's going to lose performance. That means that he probably just tidied up some things with it in terms of driving to go faster on that second lap.
Ryan Sieg back out in the 39. You know, you talk about the woulda, coulda, shouldas. And we referenced Jeff Burton and how close he was at Talladega. How about last week at Daytona for Ryan Sieg leading, and that playoff cut line totally changed. I talked about Taylor Gray, who's more than 60 points to the good. He was actually down to 25 points above the cut line when Sieg was leading, and of course it didn't work out for Sieg, but man, just one upset and it changes everything.
So as we were riding behind him in that race and I'm sitting there looking at him being the leader, I couldn't help but think about that exact scenario. I was like, if he wins this race, oh man, that playoff cut line's gonna be way different next week.
Now wait a minute, you're about to win at Daytona, Indy 88 for Dale Jr. and everything that's on the line for Connor Zilisch, and you're thinking about Ryan Sieg winning and the impact on the cut line?
I won't lie. There was a second there I was thinking about it, for sure.
Jack Perkins back out. Sits third right now and trying to better himself. A little insurance policy.
Yeah, Green here, start the lap. And I think the way he's tackled this is what I assume we'll see, especially in the second group, is sort of, oh, he slid the back end there in 12, and that's going to hurt his run down the front straightaway. Lost a ton of time there, 4/10 basically.
Down to 4 minutes to go for Group 1. You don't have to finish your lap. You just have to get it started prior to time expiring.
Oh!
You know what I would say? I'd say you're third. Let's call it good.
We're good, bud. Well, he wanted to find out what was actually out there, what performance that car had, and he found it.
Joey Hand able to help himself. Goes from 8th to 7th. Jumps in front of teammate Ryan Sieg.
Not surprised to see that, considering how wrong it went down in turn 7, as we see Nick Sanchez is going to try again here.
Currently second.
Big right front lock up there into 1. Oh, gets sideways there out of 3. Ooh, another right foot. You don't want to do that too many times. You can start to flat spot that tire, hurt you.
And these are the tires you'll start the race with, so you got to be careful of that.
Right, yeah, and you just, if you're Patrick Donahue in the box, you're sort of cringing seeing that, because you know that you're going to start on these tires in that first stage. There's another one.
Well, and he might not know, right, where he is on the tracker, but they can see the telemetry, and they can tell him, hey, look, we're good. Let's just be done with it, right? I will say this, though. It's always been fun watching qualifying for me, and just in general, watching drivers at road courses, because sometimes they look slow, and it's actually really fast. The way they throw it around and hop in the curves and, tires off the ground and all the things that happen. AJ's someone that I felt like always, didn't show speed, but ended up having really fast laps. It just didn't look fast, but he was hustling it so well. What's up with his old teammate, or a guy that's driving for Colleague now, the 11 of Brown, Dylan?
Yeah, that's right. The 11 car has been on jack stands here for the last few minutes. Spoke with Eddie Pardue, who crew chiefs this car, and he said that the transmission had a little bit of an issue. Said it wouldn't go into second gear cleanly, so they are just going to opt to change the entire transmission. So that's what they'll do here over the next couple hours. I believe that should mean the 11 will start at the back of the race later on today, but not an issue. It didn't break necessarily, but just precautionary here to try to give Will Brown the best chance at a full race later on this afternoon.
We referenced it. I mean, not a lot of speed in practice, and now mechanical issues in qualifying. It's been an uphill climb for Will Brown.
You think all that he's trying to experience for the first time, right? Right hand shifting in each pattern. That is difficult.
Alande, the quickest in Group 1. Group 2 coming.
a brake issue or something's happened. So I think this will be hopefully a good road course race for us. I think we've struggled on speedways and road courses, has really put a damper on our season points-wise. So hopefully just have a good day and just come out here with a good finish and then keep track position, because you're not gonna gain a whole lot. So just got to be fast and have a good handling car and just stay out of maybe somebody else's mess. So just stay on the track. But all in all, the guys have done great all season. Just it's been up and down. Looking at all the races throughout the year, it's just we've run really good or we've run really bad or wrecked. So just proud of all the guys on the SciAps team. Hopefully we make it to the playoffs. But if not, we can always, improve ourselves and not in the playoffs. So we have a lot to look forward to even the next season. So I'm excited, ready to keep this thing going forward.
He referenced the lack of performance at road courses and speedways. He's not been a great road racer in his career. Really good on speedways, and that will probably be the biggest disappointment when you look at a regular season for them, as they didn't take advantage of their strength in the first 26 races. Group 1 is done in qualifying. Alande leads the way, 1:13.94. Sanchez, nice bounce back to jump up in the top 5. Same for Taylor Gray.
Great job there for sure to bounce back from the mechanical issue they had in practice. So few laps in the racetrack. I think that lap time could possibly net a top 10 here, maybe even a top 5 overall. So we'll see. I mean, we expect the mid to low 13s could be the pole time here, as we're watching the guy who most likely is going to set it if you had to be a betting person. But I think definitely a great comeback there from the 48 team.
Zilich has won 3 of the 5 road course races this year, and each time he won, he was quickest in practice today, and comes in the unquestioned favorite just because he's so good at this stuff. But as we talked earlier, had never been to Portland before this afternoon's practice session, picked up on it quickly, and we'll see how he delivers in qualifying.
Right here, he just already started the lap, now back on the front straightaway. Remember the alternate start-finish line there on the backstretch. It'll be about 160 plus miles an hour here. Brake at the 500 board as hard as you can. Down to second. He goes to first pretty early there. And now you get the slowest section and fire up as hard as you can through second. He'll go to third. He doesn't hit it off the rev limiter, then back down to second for turn 4.
Lost a little bit of his advantage through the 1, 2, 3 area and down into 4.
Right, this is where he really can make it up, though. Down to first for 6. Wrapping that inside curve. You don't want to go too far to the right because you got to set up for turn 7, which is awkward here. Oh, beautiful job getting it down to the apex. Back hard on the throttle up to second, third, and to end the lap at the end of this straightaway. This was a solid one.
You said beautiful, and the tracker agreed. Top of the board, Connor Zilich is fastest, 1:13.38. For the driver from Mooresville, North Carolina, 19 years old, and has been so good on the road this year. Allgaier, his teammate, jumps up to second. Sam Mayer just wrapped his lap, is now third. Allgaier second and 4/10 behind his teammate.
Yeah, a lot of experience here the last couple of years for Justin Allgaier. He's been at the front of every one of these races, it feels like, especially in those late race restarts. And I'm not surprised to see him have a quick lap there. 4/10 off of Connor Zilich. So that's a fair margin, but we'll see if anyone else can sort of get closer to Connor here, or if they can take another run at it after they cool down the car. Sheldon Creed on the racetrack, and one thing to note is NASCAR once again cleaned the track there a little bit down to 10-11. And as we run more cars here, as this session goes on, it's going to continually get dirtier and dirtier. They're down in 10 and 11, so it could be tough for anyone to go faster or even get close to Connor Zilich.
Austin Hill went to third. Jesse Love, his teammate, is 7th. You know, Jesse was really good in practice, and I thought it was funny what he said to Kim. He said, I didn't like this place, but after practice, I like it a little more. Now that he's 7th in qualifying, I'm wondering if he's back to not liking it again, because that's quite a bit behind his teammate, who he was right there with in the practice session earlier.
We look at Sheldon Creed finishing this lap. Love that camera right there. The sound of the race cars reverberating off the wall is so cool. That's going to be 13th for him.
Not what I expected when you consider how he's qualified in the past, and Kim referenced the fact that he's led laps every time we've been here. And then you multiply that by the fact that his teammates up there in 4th. Ryan Ellis in the 71, first time we've seen him today. Ryan 11th last week at Daytona, just missed his 2nd career top 10. And actually, that race was so crazy at the ending, we were unsure of the official results, so we had to wait. But before everything came out officially, he was 10th. And I'm like, oh, he got his 2nd career top 10. And then when NASCAR sorted through everything, he ended up 11th on the board at the end of the night.
He's a cool dude. Great part of this series. And, is just working so hard to put all the partners together to increase that and improve that program, and just trying to inch by inch get better, more funding. Working so hard to do that. And it's cool to see him have good results.
Brennan Poole, top 12 last couple of races. And was 10th earlier this year at Chicago, so we know he can get it done on the road. And he's on it as he comes across the alternate start-finish line, driving the 44 for Alpha Prime. Tommy Joe Martins and Cesar Baccarella leading the ship.
And you see all that dirt down there. That's happened for every car, so the track is just gaining more and more dust and dirt down in 10 and 11. About half second off of Zilich here as he starts the lap. That is not bad at all. That would put you in the top 5. Heading down into 1.
Be careful how you evaluate the track, right?
Really important to maximize your braking there into 1. Brake as late as it possibly can on a qual lap here. He lost a bit of time there. Did look fairly conservative down into 1. Ooh, that car, little wiggle there, that's gonna hurt you. You wanna sort of wrap these inside curves with continuous momentum. You don't wanna start and stop the race car through this section. Hike in that left front, the car's bouncing around, bucket. Kind of like a bull rider.
Well, we do have the PBR on CW, thank you very much.
That was a natural toss.
We just teed me up.
Yeah.
That's teamwork right there.
It's like we've been doing this for a while.
Carson Quapple, good in practice.
I think, well, I was going to say this is an important weekend for him, a big opportunity. He's been so good at the road courses, especially back at COTA. A little bit right front lock up into 1. He'll get away with it.
Carson likely going to lock up a playoff position on points tonight. Comes in well over 100 points above the cut line, and his advantage over 12, even if we were to get new winners, should put him in a good position leaving today and having a chance to qualify for the playoffs in his rookie campaign. And a pretty decent lap going here.
Definitely. This is really good. This would be a solid top 10, fringe top 5 effort.
Lost some ground there.
He would be really happy with the just turn 7. Zilich had such a great direct entry down to the apex there, which is really tough to do as you come off a 6.
7th for Quapple.
I think you can be happy with that if I'm Carson Quapple. I think his rookie season has been very impressive this year. But his biggest problem is that Connor Zilich has been in this season as well.
For all the rookies.
For all the rookies. Like, most of them are having really good seasons. It's just, and then there's Connor Zilich.
And, Sanchez has won, so he's locked into the playoffs. But if you take his win away, and, hey, we know how it works, but that he would be flirting with not making it into the playoffs. And the reason I say that is it puts in perspective how good and consistent Carson has been in delivering finishes. And he's got 3 consecutive top 10s coming into today's race. So there's no doubt there have been a lot of high points for him.
Right, as we right on board here with William Sawalich, he sort of overcooked turn 1, got all over the curb in turn 2, lost a ton of time. I think he's going to want to have another shot at this. I have to believe he's going to sort of took that lap easy after that. And then go for another one.
Joe Gibbs' cars right there together right now, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Sawalich puts a lap on the board at 18th, and he'll want more, no doubt, as you said.
Yeah, I think he just sort of took care of the tires, aborted that lap after what went down in turn 1. You use all the racetrack there to exit out of 12. The wall comes up quick, and suddenly there as you get onto the front straightaway, up to 4th gear. over 160 miles per hour. You look for the 500 board here, brake as hard as you can, down to second, and wait, there it is, there's the first gear. You want to get some of that curve, not all of it. You heard the race car actually slam over that curve. Up to second, the rear can wiggle around here. He'll go to third, back to second for turn 4.
Tracker looks great.
Really good lap. This should definitely be in the conversation for the top 5. It's going to come down to here, 6, and then of course 7, where we saw Connor Zilich do such a good job.
Won the Arca West race yesterday. I'm trying to find a translation of momentum here.
Looked a tad lazy getting down to the apex. That lost about 2/10 into 7, but gains it back on the exit.
For him, he needs a win to make the playoffs. Road course could serve as an opportunity, and he is 4th. Great effort on lap 2, by far and away the best of the Toyotas for Joe Gibbs Racing, and most importantly, he can see the front. You just want to keep that 88 in your sights.
That was a great lap, Williams-Walsh. You'd be proud of that.
Kim?
Joey Hand running the 28 entry for RSS Racing. We're used to seeing you jump in a Cup car. This is actually your Xfinity Series debut. So what can you offer the Ford camp this weekend?
Well, I mean, you know, just learning this car and trying to understand it. I think a lot of people know I help out in the sim a lot with the Cup guys, truck guys, Xfinity guys. And so the opportunity came up to where I could jump in this car, in Kyle C's car for RSS, and it just gives me a feel, you know, so like a real life feel of what's going on. So, you know, I can be in there and be like, yes, for sure, I know that this is what the car will do. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. Thankful to RSS and thankful to Ford. It's always great to be driving Ford Mustang. I'm grateful to be part of the Ford family, and yeah, it's all about trying to get these guys going a little bit better. Anything you can get in this series is big.
What was the biggest surprise after practice?
I mean, I kind of knew it was coming, but I think I felt more comfortable than I thought I'd feel. I didn't feel quite as fish out of water. I mean, driving the Cup cars a little bit, I think helps, but this car is, you know, it moves around a lot. That's the big thing you got to get used to, and you have a tough time feeling where body roll and tire roll turn into grip, and that's probably the biggest surprise. Is again, knowing all the cars I've driven in my life, I kind of knew it was coming, but you still are like, man, I just can't quite feel the edge. And you know, I mean, not where I wanted to pop out there 19th, but I mean, the same thing. I ran Chicago last year, qualified like 37th, and almost won it. So it's more about like I got to feel it out, and then hopefully move forward in the race. But it's not easy to pop in. There's a lot of great guys here, a lot of great cars, and you got to find your way. There's dirt in 10, 11, 12. You're like, should I throw it in here? Should I not? You know, I'd rather start 19th and 28th or whatever. So I didn't want to put it off. So yeah, we're in good shape here. It's fun to be part of this program and meet all these people and be in NASCAR paddock again. But I'll do my best to learn what I can and go forward.
Lots of different faces in different places this weekend, Dylan.
Yeah, including Will Brown in the 11 car for Colleague Racing, who jumps in this race car for his Xfinity debut. So I know qualifying, we talked about the little transmission gremlin, but do you feel like you got enough laps and experience in practice and even qualifying to be comfortable to go race here in a little bit?
Yeah, I probably wasn't feeling as comfortable as I hoped, to be honest. But yeah, just had a little drama. I don't know if I burred a second gear or something happened. Had one misshift probably on lap 2 or 3, and then was just really struggling to get into second gear, and that was just hurting all my braking zones and everything like that. So felt like I couldn't get in a rhythm out there. But yeah, we'll start off the back. It's a long race. We'll slowly see if we can pick a few off. But we'll get it sorted and see what happens.
What have you thought about these Xfinity Series race cars? Are they enjoyable to drive?
Yeah, they're a lot different to what I'm used to. Compared to, obviously, I drove the Cup car, but compared to the supercar, they move around a lot more. They pick up the front, they roll a lot, and that. So that was something to get used to. You can't feel the lockups as easy, but I just got to do a better job, and hopefully we get this sorted, and we'll be right.
Well, he's one of the best for sure, but still getting his head around.
probably got one of the biggest fan bases behind him right now.
Yes.
The Xfinity Series race. I know Dale Jr. has a lot of fans, so JRM has a lot of fans. Connor Zilic, oh, using all the track. That's about as exciting as it gets.
He didn't turn 3. He didn't get both feet in bounds. That's an incomplete pass.
Held on to it.
Dean Thompson currently 23rd. And, you know, he's quietly performed on the road races this year. A handful of top 15s racing on the road in his rookie campaign.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder if he'll try to do another because that really hurt his lap.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, you just have to start the lap. You don't have to finish it. 90 seconds to go, Group 2. Thompson does jump a spot up to 22nd. And I look up in front of him on our bumper, and I see Jeb Burton, Harrison Burton, Ryan Sieg right there together. And that's worth noting as they chase points later and a spot in the playoffs. They're the 3 drivers that mathematically you talk about being able to point in around the cut line.
Looking at Sheldon Creed there.
That was a little tricky there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was trying to start another lap. That was the finish. He's got 4 laps on his tires. I'd say that's about as many as you'd want to do to watch Jeb Burton here. You know, that's the other factor through this qualifying session is you have to at some point say mercy and say, hey, look, we're not going to put any more laps on these tires. We've got to do the first stage on them.
I would say that has to come from the pit box. It's like we said earlier, I mean, as a driver, you just believe I can go get more. It's so hard to tell them that's enough.
Jeb Burton there looks really tight, that race car. And he's going to quit, knowing that that was not a good set of corners. The car just had a lot of understeer in it. Was locking up the right front tire. That could play dividends on a long run in the race as this place will start to lose grip and the rubber lays down. We see all the dirt that'll be on this racetrack later today, but that's not what you want to see for a qualifying car.
It's 17th, Jeb Burton, the best of those drivers around the cut line. Time has expired, no other drivers out there, so qualifying is done. And it's Connor Zilic who wins the pole, the 7th pole of his career. Kim Kuhn.
First visit to Portland. Come here, win the pole. You start P1. What do you have to do to make sure you end P1?
Keep it on track, first of all. This track gets really dirty. It's pretty tough to manage, especially in that last section over there when guys are cutting that chicane and picking dirt up on the track. So that'll be first, and then trying not to go through the cut through in turn 1. I had to do that once in practice, so hopefully I don't have to do that again in the race. But yeah, really proud of this 88 WeatherTech Chevrolet team. Our car is as fast as Xfinity Mobile, just like every other week we show up to the racetrack. So I don't want to get used to it, but it sure is fun, you know, getting to go to the track every week and know that you're gonna have a shot.
Connor Zilic will lead the field to green. Dylan.
And Justin Allgaier always fast here at Portland. You just said you felt like you were maybe the only guy that didn't have an off-track excursion today. So how will that pay dividends for you in the race if that's kind of your approach today?
Well, I hope that pays dividends because I hope that doesn't mean that I'm going to get it during the race. But honestly, really proud of Jim Pullman and everybody on the 7 team. Brought a really fast brand professional called Chevrolet. I feel like for me, balance-wise, our car has always driven really well here. We've backed that up with solid finishes the last couple of times we've been here. So I think, you know, the race is going to get aggressive. I think it's going to get physical. There's a few spots there where it's hard to get through and make passes. So, you know, just being there at the end, I think, is going to be the key. And obviously, you want to be as fast as Xfinity Mobile, but you want to also have 4 fenders on it when the checkered flag falls. So, again, really proud of this team, proud of all the effort. We always come here with a car that's capable of running up front. And we got the Cherries on board this week. So, you know, there'd be nothing cooler than out here in the Pacific Northwest and they get a Cherry car in Victory Lane and go have a little bit of fun.
The JRM front row sweep today at Portland.
Connor Zilic has won 6 poles in the first 25 races of the season. It's the first time that's happened since Kyle Busch did it in 2017. Here's the starting grid. Dylan referenced teammates on the front row. Hill Sawalich row 2.
It's unbelievable, though, Connor Zilic, what he's doing this season. Just every record there is to break, he's just finding a way to do it. But yeah, I think he's got some serious competition there behind him. And as we look back here, it'll be fun to watch Jack Perkins, Christian Eckes, Taylor Gray. What can they make happen? And Joey Hand, super cool to see him in the field.
I like Hand up there. I like Green on that page. Dean Thompson, Anthony Alfredo share row 11. Jeremy Clements has a road course win at Road America a number of years ago. He's in row 13 with Daniel Dye.
Will Brown, it'll be fun to watch him try and figure these out, and the NASCAR star Vicente Salas there in row 16 as he tries to transition to real-world NASCAR.
Thomas Annunziata, who missed the transmission, going to come from the back. He was second in the ARCA race here yesterday. Well, we're looking forward to round 25 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Coverage begins on CW with NASCAR Countdown Live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.